What's good, basketball heads? It's your boy Crush. So here we have Monica Mcnutt calling out Stephen A. Smith on national TV for not covering the WNBA more. So she said, with Stephen A.'s platform and all the coverage and publicity, he could have covered the WNBA a long time ago. They deserve more coverage. They need more coverage. She also said, because of Caitlin Clark's emergence, now all of a sudden everybody cares about the WNBA. The WNBA is getting a little more coverage, a little more spotlight than before. And she's saying there were other players before Caitlin Clark. She's not hating on Caitlin Clark. She's just saying, where was that energy pre-Caitlin Clark? There's other women that paved the way, and she also spoke on, Caitlin Clark being, roughed up. So Monica Mcnutt is saying basically, they never really paid attention to the WNBA like that. They barely got coverage, which she's not lying. They barely got coverage. And since Caitlin Clark came along, ESPN is willing to cover them more. Stephen A. Smith is willing to do a little bit more coverage. Not a lot, just a little, And she's saying that's unfair to the women of the league who have laid the groundwork, all the women who've been playing. So she called out Stephen A. Smith on live air, She put him on blast, basically saying, y'all don't cover the league enough. The WNBA, that is, And clearly, Stephen A. Smith, he wasn't happy with that. Stephen A., especially if you're on his show, for you to call him out, he's not going to take that lightly. So this is what Monica Mcnutt had to say. We are still talking about competition, where you are allowed to get a little extra elbow in if you are competing, and you do it within the parameters of the game. The game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. So Monica Mcnutt is saying, everybody crying because every now and then Caitlin Clark, she get a little roughed up, it gets a little physical, but that's sports. That's basketball. That's sports in general. So she's saying just because Caitlin Clark, is who she is, it's blown out of proportion. Everybody's exaggerating because she is who she is. The league is always like that. It gets a little physical at times, but that's normal. But because it's Caitlin Clark, everybody's acting like the league is out to get her. They're trying to hurt her, injure her, and that's not the case. So that's what she had to say to Stephen A. Smith, along with calling him out for not giving the WNBA more coverage. And that's when Stephen A. responded with, who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talks about women's sports more than First Take? And that's when Monica Mcnutt responded with, Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to. I'm talking to you about the power that you have. I'm talking to you. And that's when Stephen A. responded with, you're my girl, but you have missed a lot of episodes of First Take. You missed a lot. And then Monica Mcnutt responded with, Stephen A., 3 years ago, you would not have talked about the WNBA at this level. Don't do it. And let's all be honest, including myself. Nobody was paying attention to the WNBA like that until Caitlin Clark arrived. Until Caitlin Clark became a thing, she got drafted. Nobody was this focused on the WNBA. Let's all be honest about this. I hear what Monica Mcnutt is saying. I know where she's coming from. As a woman, I know where she's coming from. But let's be honest once again. The WNBA is not the NBA. We're not trying to make it male versus females. It is what it is. The NBA generates billions. The WNBA generates millions, and the coverage is night and day. So I know what she's saying. I know what she's implying, and I know what she's trying to get at, but she got to understand that's the way ESPN works. That's the way all sports network work. They're not going to cover something. They're not going to give a sports or a team coverage if they feel like it's not beneficial, basically. If they're not going to do numbers, the ratings are not going to fly out the roof, they're not going to do it. Hence why they didn't cover Indiana in the playoffs. You notice that? And that's the NBA. They still didn't cover Indiana. Even after they beat New York, they were more focused on New York. So was Stephen A. Smith. And I get it, New York is Stephen A.'s team, but regardless, But that shows you it's not really about the WNBA. It's about ratings. It's about numbers. It's about money. And if a sport or a team is not going to generate a buzz, money, revenue, whatever the case may be, views, they're not going to cover it. That's just how it works. I mean, this is not just a Stephen A thing, it's a network situation. It's ESPN. So this was an intense conversation between Monica Mcnutt, Stephen A. Smith. They're pretty good friends. They're cool. Beyond this situation, they don't have, past history, drama, no. But she felt some way in her heart and she let it out. She spoke her mind. Stephen A seemed stunned, like he was shocked. Shannon Sharp tried to intervene, but she cut him off. He didn't get to say what he wanted to say. So after that whole situation, Stephen A. Smith claps back at Monica Mcnutt by implying he made her famous. So this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say. You ever heard of Monica Mcnutt? You have now, because she's on First Take a lot. Shanae, absolutely wonderful, spectacular basketball analyst, etc. WNBA player in her own right. Ask her how it's been to be on First Take. How about Adrienne Carter, who is a rising star in the business? How much do you think First Take helped that? How about Kimberly Martin? What about Molly herself? So Stephen A. Smith, went out his way to highlight all the women that benefited from being on First Take, being on the show, whether hosting, guest hosting, whatever the case may be. He's basically saying them being on his show helped catapulted them, boost their careers, notoriety. So essentially, he's saying Monica Mcnutt, she don't know what she's talking about. First Take have helped a lot of females, athletes, etc. Basically, Monica Mcnutt, she felt a way about a certain situation. She voiced her opinion. Stephen A. Smith, he rebutted, said what he had to say. Then, later on his own show, he has his own podcast. He further followed up on that situation by implying that First Take have helped a lot of women, a lot of females, join his show, join the network. The show have helped a lot of females build notoriety for themselves, make a name for themselves, etc. But we're going to see what happened moving forward, man. But as always, I holla. As always, we just talking basketball. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share. Holla at your boy.
It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about the game. I'ma say it. It's all about the game.